Hey guys, so I just had one of the most terrifying experiences I've ever had. I was I was asleep, and oh, by the way, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and I I'm not going back to sleep tonight. Like I feel just I feel messed up. So what happened? It's really weird. Like to explain it. But I guess I'll just take you guys through exactly what happened, and you guys can feel for yourself, what that was. But I started off in this dream where I was in a sort of warehouse kind of place, and it was kind of weird because it started off as if I was like a Destiny 2 character. Like I felt like I was one of the Guardians or whatever. And me and another group of people, I don't know anybody that was there, I just know that it was me and a group of people were fighting something, and we eventually beat it. And so we all got grouped together in this. I don't know. I guess we were getting like awarded for beating this thing that we had fought. And the way that the dream was set up, like the area that I was in, I was standing on top of a metal catwalk that was suspended in the air. There were metal stairs in front of me that went down to the base area. There was a group of people who were standing in a formation on the ground, and then there was a space and another group of people next to them. And there was like a few people in front of me, like we were standing in line. I guess it was the people that I fought with, but I was standing in this line, I guess getting ready to go downstairs, and the formations that were on the ground uh, started to shift over, like they did like a full drill movement to shift over, and I like noticed this guy who was standing on the ground who was kind of just like out of place, and he was standing there with like a kind of like a doctor's thing that they put on patients, like that little dress thing. So he was standing that, and for some reason in my dream, I knew that he was like an escapee of an insane asylum. I don't know how I knew it. I didn't recognize the guy. He had no distinguishing features about him. But that guy was standing there and he was watching the rest of the people in this formation. And as they were shifting over in perfect syncrasy or whatever, he kind of like watched and then slowly moved over himself. And I was going to like call him out, but before I did, I noticed this moaning sound, like this woman in like these having these painful kind of like horror movie game or horror movie or game kind of moans. That's what it kind of sounded like. And so I looked over, and there was this woman who was standing in the other formation, and she looked like she had been cut up completely. Like she was covered, like her chest, like her upper torso was covered in bandages, and her waist was covered in bandages, and she looked like that she got split into four pieces. Like she looked like she had been cut straight down her body and then straight across the center of her body, and was being held together like Frankenstein style by a bunch of stitches. And she was making these painful moans and shit, and she started ripping at one of her bandages and slowly pulling it off. And she was occasionally, like as she was pulling, she was saying like, stop it, and then she'd moan more as she was pulling these bandages off. And then that dream area started to fade away, and began to become conscious as if I was waking up. And I woke up to the extent where I was conscious of my room, of where I am now. I was still laying in my bed. I was laying on my back, and my left arm was over my chest. And I could feel all this, but I couldn't move, and I couldn't open my eyes, and I could barely breathe. I was experiencing sleep paralysis. If you don't know what that is, just Google it. It's kind of simple to really understand. Well, it's complex, but it's also simple to understand. It's basically when you're in a deep REM sleep, but you gain consciousness before your body comes out of the sleep pattern. So your mind knows what's going on about you, but your body can't move because when you go into deep REM, your body paralyzes itself so that you don't like sleepwalk or act out things that's happening in your dreams. So, anyways, I'm laying on my bed. I have my arm over my chest and I'm laying back, and I hear in my room these very silent footsteps approaching my bed. And I hear this, and I try to open my eyes, I try to move, but I can't, I'm just stuck. And so I start getting nervous as these footsteps approach my bed, and I start breathing harder, and I start almost hyperventilating. I'm just breathing, and I'm at this point I'm trying to force myself to breathe super fast so I can pump blood through my body, because I was thinking, like, if I could get my heart rate up, then maybe that'll overpower the sleep paralysis and I'll be able to move and like figure out what's going on. And the footsteps was right next to my bed, and I heard the sound of like a mixture of paper and bandages kind of like crumpling right next to my face. It was like right here, and I had the feeling that someone was there and they were about to like wrap my face and like suffocate me in my sleep. So I started hyperventilating more, and I was freaking out, and I tried to force my eyes open, and I just barely forced my eyes open, and I just saw this dark figure standing right by my bed, like looking directly at my face, and I couldn't hold my eyes open. My eyes shut back down, and so I started freaking out, and so I started breathing more and more, and I started freaking out so much that I could finally start feeling my hand move a little bit. And so with everything that I could, I jerked my hand down just so I could try to get some movement, and I just felt it kind of like fall over. And I guess with that movement, I kind of gained like the feeling of how hard I have to push to move myself. So I tried to sit up, but that didn't happen. I just fell back down. So I forced myself to open my eyes again, and I just tried to scream, or I tried to like yell, but nothing was coming out. So I was just sitting there hyperventilating, trying to bring my eyes open, and I kind of like turned over, and I just stared directly at this thing that was standing there, and it eventually just kind of faded away. And the environment of my room, I guess, like my paralysis was wearing off at that point, and so my brain was starting to come out of the dream world and perceive my room around me. So I started seeing what was actually there, and eventually I sat there for a minute, and I started to slowly regain my movement. So I sat up in my bed, and I looked, and I calmed myself down, and I just sat there and like let my brain kind of work this out. And it was just absolutely the most fucked thing that I've ever been through. It's ridiculous. I have no idea. It was fucked. It was really fucked. That I was in a situation where I felt like I was about to be suffocated, and there was nothing that I could do. I couldn't move or breathe or think straight. I was just stuck, unwilling to fight against this inevitable fate that I thought was happening. So that was just fucked. Like like I said, it's 2:00 in the morning. I just woke up, and I'm not going back to sleep tonight. And I had to record this to tell you guys about this, because if you guys have seen already, or haven't seen already, I tweeted that I just experienced this. So I figured I'd tell you guys the story and get your thoughts on it, and tell me if any of you have experienced sleep paralysis or know somebody that has before, and tell me your story. Oh, fuck. Well, anyways, thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm not gonna worry about telling you to leave a like down below. I just wanted to tell you guys about this. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you'll tell me more about what happened with your experiences if you've had any. So, thank you again, and I will see you guys later.